Welcome to 214 Lafayette,
otherwise known as Casa Jesse.
a really cool venue in the heart of Soho with some really cool features. So come inside and check it out with us.
All right, let's go.
Hi guys, welcome to 214 Lafayette, also known as Casa Jesse. When you walked in, we have these amazing doors that make this entire house feel extremely discreet. Upon entry, we have a beautiful wraparound LED wall that was actually recently installed by the Jesse team. It's awesome for running all your content. We have obviously an in-house AV team that would help you format and build all the things that you would need to showcase within these LED walls that you'll see throughout the house. As we ascend up to the second floor, it's kind of one of our highlight moments. We have a beautiful, huge in-house pool. Also want to make a note that this is where Beyonce filmed her Halo video. Just a fun fact. In the pool area, which can be totally utilized for events, it's a great opportunity for you to also have product display within. You can have a live bar within there. Alongside the pool area is an additional room that could be used for really anything. We do have covers for everything. It's a nice world that we've created with Jesse where we have solutions to all their branding. Therefore, you can utilize this room and really brand it as your own. As we go up, third floor is actually our largest floor. It's where most of the event content takes place. You will notice there's a lot of trunks that are showcasing all the Jesse products. Those trunks are amazing because they can be closed and rolled out. So for all events, we always deliver you the space with the trunks removed from property as well as all the carpets. You can also see that there is a beautiful chef's kitchen in the center of the space, which is great for live cooking experiences, as well as just a really good surface for any sort of food displays or bar. The room itself has a massive LED wall that goes from the floor to the ceiling, which is over 25 feet. Another opportunity for you to run some content. You also probably notice a lot of really beautiful furniture within this room. All that can be removed, actually. So even though we have some beautiful pieces that you are welcome to take advantage of, we also can clear the room so that it's a blank slate for you. In the back corner, you'll see that there is also a great moment that you can have a beautiful bar or just a good city look, because it really does have its unique character having the windows the way they are. It's kind of this signature detail of this house. As we go up to the fourth floor, that's our mezzanine floor. Typically, this is not really used for guest experience, but very often these floors are used for more of a production back-of-house situation. When you open up the mezzanine windows, it's a really awesome way for you to capture a great photo moment of the room below, which is where, like I said, most things are really taking place. And then we can go up to the fifth floor, which actually is my favorite floor. The fifth floor is a nice surprise. There's a gorgeous built-in bar, as well as a very charming outdoor space, especially in season. There's 2 back rooms within the 5th floor that also often are used more for back of house. Typically, once again, catering likes to take over one of those rooms, and the other room is either used for talent, it could be a green room, it could be whatever else you could use it for. It is very much available for guest facing as well. Thanks for checking out 214 Lafayette. We are very proud to have this piece of inventory in our collection of venues. Please come by and check it out yourself.
So we just took the tour of 214 Lafayette, and now we're going to sit down with PS Ives of Hush Venues to get to know her and what she's all about.
Happy to be here.
Yay.
Yay.
So PS, we love your space, obviously. It's so beautiful. But we want to get to know you a little bit more, too.
Okay.
So, tell us how you got started in the events industry.
Like most people, I started on the journey of catering. Usually when you find yourself in space, I feel like you started catering. And I did that at a very young age. I cut my teeth in a catering company, and I found that to be interesting. I mean, I certainly love food, but working on the back end of it was interesting and really not the most fitting to my taste. But in that category of this or lane of business within events, I found myself always going to different types of venues, and obviously being the caterer, you had to start learning these different properties that you might be working out of. In which then I realized I actually find myself better suited in selling space because it just was a little bit more appealing to me. I just felt like that's where I fit the best in explaining how to utilize a space versus all the other elements of the event world. So I really stuck in my lane and really stayed the course and found myself in this interesting land of just space. And it's actually a funny thing that we always say as a company, we are just the space. We are way more as people, but in reality to the event world, we are simply the space. All the other components are brought in by the amazing professionals within each lane of events.
Great.
And so tell us, too, how did the Hush Venues team come together? How did this all happen?
Oh, wow. That is a long story, but I will make it a bridge somehow.
We got time.
Yes. I will give you the shortcut. So it's me and my two business partners, Tiffany Scrella and Sarah Altabelli. They are basically sisters to me at this point. I wouldn't want to do life with anyone else but them. They actually used to be my employees at a former company that I owned. It was actually even odd for me to have employees at that time of life. I didn't feel like I should be anyone's boss, but here I was.
The imposter syndrome.
Figuring out how to pay someone a salary.
Right.
And it was totally an imposter syndrome moment for me. And that company really was, it was a really great idea. However, it wasn't the end all be all for me. I kind of, once I started losing interest in it, it just started growing a little outside of what I was hoping it to be. Me, Tiff, and Sarah came together as just now equals, and we were offered an opportunity by a developer to open up these two really large properties, and this is prior to the pandemic. So we were able to kind of branch off from that, employer-employee scenario and build a business together. And then that was a very successful, quick overnight scenario where we were able to really bring life into these two massive properties that we were given the opportunity to activate. And then the pandemic, obviously, we all went through our things. And the one thing that we all walked away during the pandemic with was that we never want to be apart. We are so good together.
Oh, that's nice.
We can't imagine doing any of this. You spend so much time in your job, and we became just so accustomed to being in each other's lives. So we basically rose from ashes together and started Hush Venues, which was really just to more specifically focus on what we all did the best, which was, once again, space, but using very unique properties as our bases for these events. So it's kind of part of our criteria. We are never going to be those people that you're going to see in a hotel or even at this point in like a white box at this point. We're kind of we've grown beyond that even, which used to be like the thing for us. Now we really just take on properties that are extremely special and hard to come by.
Yeah, I like the space that we're in. You can definitely tell.
This is a great calling card for this concept.
What about the name Hush Venues?
Yes, I was
Oh my God, guys. Wow. That's from 2014. So that was that even then? Might have been even sooner.
Right.
So Hush Venues it used to be Hush Events. It's a revival company. It's actually a company I started in my first time out on my own in the world in opening up my own business. It was just me. I used to run a really incredible photo studio.
Oh, yeah?
And yes.
Oh.
So
Cool.
yeah, I used to run it for events. They were primarily a photo studio, and we kind of just came together in an awesome marriage. The studio is called Location 05. There's it still exists in a different property now. They're still remaining my best friends of life.
Nice.
And I used to work for a person at the time. I was employed, and I was there to sell that particular photo studio as part of my job. And one of the owners of Location 05 used to be like, "P.S. Why are you making everyone else so much money? Why are you not just like taking these leads? You're like our friend. Let's just put them under the radar. We'll call them Hush Events."
Right.
And so that's where this all came from.
Got it.
I would just take these like one-off events and not tell my employer, and then put it on the calendar, and we just would label it as a Hush event.
Yeah.
And so when the time came and my employer fired me because he realized I was being a shady ass person, and he actually fired me in the best way. He's like, "You're an entrepreneur. You need to not be tied down to someone."
Right.
That's
And-
nice.
Let me not hold you back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so right after that, I was like, you know what? I already have a company name. It's Hush Events.
Yes.
So
Right.
that sat on the burner for a very long time because I did then open up 2 other companies from that point on. That became very successful. And once again, one of them was where Tiff and Sarah were my employees. And once everything, once again, crashed and burned and we had to come back from the ashes, I was like, I still have this company, Hush Events. Why don't we just bring it back?
Sure.
And we at the time, it was perfect because we're like, you know what? That's exactly the type of property we want. The ones that are like on the hush. And we always say we're the worst kept secret because we're extremely loud people.
The worst.
We're the worst. So we are absolutely doing a bad job of keeping things on the hush.
Right.
However,
It's not on brand. Not on
it's
brand.
just, but it's on under the radar kind of property.
Right.
So
It is,
it worked out really well that particular scenario then teed us up for this current state of where we're at.
Wow.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
the common thread I'm hearing is that PS makes lifelong friends everywhere she goes.
Yes.
Like she collects friends.
I think so.
like-
The right friends.
Right,
The right
the right
friends.
friends.
Yes.
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 You stuck with
I also
us
know how to
now.
get rid of the friends too.
Right.
You guys are lifelong friends.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So I also wanted you to explain to us and our listeners, what is the business model for Hush Venues and
Yeah.
why does it work?
I think it works very well, by the way. So I almost don't want to tell you my secret sauce, but
Okay.
I'll give you some ingredients.
some
I'll give you some
ingredients.
ingredients.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
I'll give you some of them. Basically, as I said, we're just a space, but we always have in our these partner vendors that are extremely compatible to us and our properties. Those vendors usually include an AV partner, which is for lighting and sound, which we have a die-hard, long-live, once again, someone else, it's basically another sister for us. Luminae is the company. They are in every property of ours.
They're great.
They're amazing. It's actually a plug for them. Ava is the only female-owned AV company in the tri-state.
Okay.
I think that's very badass
Very
of her.
cool.
Okay.
We also grew up together and we're in theater together. So
Best friends, right? I'm assuming. Right?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, we were literally when I was 8 years old in theater together.
Yeah,
So we
great.
grew up together. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually just a funny story of its own.
For
And then
another podcast.
Yes.
it is so worth it. If you had us here together, there would be a dance as well. So in our properties, we have these really solid vendors that we always require our clients to use to ensure that there would be actually a very successful ending to your event. So we usually have, like I said, AV for Luminae. We do usually a bar partner so that there's some sort of a service element included, as well as we have our lifelong security team that we always work alongside of, a venue management program that we always have someone on site that we know that's very trained on these properties, and our post-event cleaning company. These are like the people that we call Jesus. We're like, they are just the closest thing to God, those people. So ultimately, the business model is to still represent the space as just the space and let our clients, which are mainly production companies and planners, come in and create their world. However, we do assist by pushing certain vendors into their lane for the success of these events.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, to your point, trust is the currency that we deal in this industry. There's plenty of vendors that do the same thing.
Yes.
And so if there's not that trust element there, that it's really hard to build, but easy to break.
It's so true.
We just wouldn't be as successful as
Absolutely.
we can be. So
We also
that's
really
awesome
like
here.
being around these people, which is a very big detail as what keeps us going and keeps us in a positive headspace when selling these spaces or interacting with clients. We're proud to be next to these other people. So it just makes the room more fun.
No, I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. Yeah, we have a couple of those as well.
Yeah, that's like, it's gonna be a good
and they
day.
really
Yes.
represent you too.
Yeah.
Because you're
Absolutely,
bringing
because
them-
I'm
Exactly.
putting my client into their arena, and they're having to speak the same way that I speak. So you don't want that excitement to die with a bad vendor.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So moving on. So your venues are very unique.
Yes.
Is there a list or checklist of criteria? Like, how do you select the venues that you choose to represent? Because like you said before, you pretty much handpick them. You don't take everything that's available, and there's a lot
is true.
available. There's a lot available. So how does the Hush team say like that's the one?
You know what's actually very interesting, and I feel like we've come a very long way, is they find us.
Okay.
So we have come to the point now where all the venues that we have in our inventory have reached out to us directly, understanding that we are a very opposite direction than just your typical black and white vanilla planner scenario. So they find us at this point. 214, particularly this particular property, has been something that's been in my life for about 10 to 12 years now. It's come back to me is how this worked out. I brought the first event here that ever took place in, I want to say like 2012 or 13. Wow, it really ages me when I think about that. But yes, so we brought the first event here. And when it's now, as you can see, it's a showroom for an awesome company, Jesse, but we were actually part of their deal that they really wanted to have us on board as a hybrid concept in general. So something to note is a lot of our venues are also doubling as something else. So for example, this is the showroom for Jesse, which is an amazing collaboration to have events within a showroom, because now my clients are organically dealing with their product, which is a great way for them to get some new eyes on some.
What is Jesse? Just for those that...
Yeah, so Jesse's a wellness brand. They do beautiful Italian-based company, which I think is very important to highlight here because they just do it the best. And it's all really like shower heads, faucets, bathroom fixtures, lighting. They have a variety of different things that they offer. It's a very high-end product. So it's not going to be in your average home. It's for the right client. But it's basically a fixtures brand, which I try to say this the right way because I think that they have a particular way they'd like me to say it. But
we won't tell them.
Yes, they
get
can
it
just
wrong.
hear us right now.
Right. So I mean, this is not the type of stuff you find at Home Depot.
Oh, zero, no. Zero, no.
Okay.
No. Like
All
they
right.
wouldn't even really sell to me as a person. They'd
Right.
have to sell by way of a designer.
Sure, I'm
so,
sure.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yes.
I'm sure. All right. So obviously we love this venue and a lot of the other venues that you have in your portfolio. On our last venue crawl, You also we included this space in the last venue crawl, and we included another venue of yours, Halo,
Yes.
which is a wonderful space. Can you tell us a little more about Halo?
Yeah, Halo is going to be a really special place. It's really very new. It's still to kind of make its debut. We are anticipating official opening. I'd say early May is the date. We have a really awesome project on the books actually for early May that's kind of causing this to be the open date.
Pushing it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we're always pushing it somewhere.
Yeah.
But so this space is very interesting. It's in the center of the space is this Noguchi fountain. It's
Amazing
a piece of
fountain.
art.
Yeah.
It's stunning. It's a centerpiece to the room.
Literal centerpiece.
It is.
Yeah.
It is the
Yeah.
centerpiece.
And a
It's-
skylight.
Exactly, it brings in some nice light, the right amount of light. It's
Right.
not like that light that's just going to blind you out for the rest of the
Right.
day. And it is art. So when you host your event at Halo, you already have your centerpiece, which is
Sure.
this fountain. And it's technically a circle and a square. So the fountain is a very large encased circle, and then the rest of the space is one big square. So it's got a lot of opportunity for movement. We've done actually already Carolina Herrera's fashion show
saw that.
there. Beautiful space, beautiful place to highlight
Yeah.
any sort of clothing. And we
And
have
it's massive.
it's massive. It's very massive. It's actually a campus to some degree.
Right.
We always call it a campus because you have the main space, which is 18,000 square feet, which is where the fountain is based in. And then we have an additional piece that you can add on, which is actually a concourse to the building that can be
Right.
totally privatized. And then we have another space alongside of it that we just call the bonus room because it's technically just a bonus to be able to have it. And then the best feature, well, there's a lot of features.
There's a lot of
that are
best
great,
features.
features.
But one of the more interesting features is the outdoor plaza, which is
Yes.
right around, it surrounds the whole property. It's private to the building, which is very rare in New York. There's very few outdoor private plazas. So the building owns it. And so we have the ability to completely make
Right.
it a part of someone's event without having any of the other interference throughout the rest of the city. And that's I think, roughly about 60,000 square feet.
Yeah.
So we
huge.
can fit up to about 15,000 people out there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see
It's gonna be great.
the types of events you guys.
I'm excited too. There's so many really cool ways that you can cut and slice this property up.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Are there any other venues you want to highlight?
I mean, we have some really amazing venues to talk about. We have some that we call pocket listings. One particular one that I don't want to give too much information about the address or anything else because I just know the integrity of this space. But we've discussed it, I believe, the two of us.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's the home of a very famous artist, and it is an incredible 3-story warehouse where a lot of his art's made. That just came into our portfolio. It's once again extremely elite. So actually, we have to even have people sign NDAs before even discussing it.
That's interesting.
So it's just interesting. It makes
Yeah.
for a little bit
Where
more
can
of
I
like a
sign?
drama.
Please?
Yeah.
I wanna
Oh,
hear it.
I can send it to you in 3
I've
seconds.
come
Yeah,
to
It's
get
on.
it.
It's
I
on.
need that NDA.
Yeah. It's like a on program now. So that's a really cool space, and it's really for a certain crowd. And we're just starting to build the momentum on that property. We have a really awesome property in the East Village called Bathhouse Studios. Once again, going back to the original concept that I was mentioning, that we double as a secondary option for the venue. Bathhouse is a full photo studio. That's their primary business line, and we bring in the additional income for them and style of money, I guess, because it's a different about money, and the event side. So Bathhouse is in the East Village. It's a really awesome looking property because from the facade, it's a historic property. It looks like a castle in the middle of the East Village.
Yeah.
However, upon entering, it's a very clean white box production space.
Okay.
So it gives this great indoor, outdoor, like drama to whatever drama you want to create on the inside.
Yeah.
And then we have some other great spaces that we are currently operating, which is the former Barney's in Chelsea.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that's on 101 7th Avenue. It's such a cool thing. It's a piece of New York history, really, is what that is. But that actually is on the market. So that property is going to eventually find a long-term
Right.
buyer. They're looking for
Retail.
a buyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever they decide to buy it for. I mean, it's
Okay.
a huge building.
So
and
the entire building is.
the entire building.
Oh, I
yes.
didn't even realize that. Okay.
Well, it's really the whole stack of I guess technically the retail portion. So it's about 6 floors that are actually on market for purchase. So in the meantime, the owners have found value in us bringing very high level events to the space, not even for the monetary purposes, but for the press that's bringing for their
Oh,
space,
yeah.
the space
Right.
itself,
That makes
to
sense.
give more opportunity for maybe buyers to see it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's been working out very well. And then we have even a property right next door to us, 216 Lafayette, which couldn't be more different than this. It's just kind of a big white warehousey kind of vibe, but great for pop-up, great for people that are looking to do more, engagement from the street scenarios.
Okay. Cool. So how do you see the role of venues evolving over the next decade?
I think people are going to, well, we've evolved so much already just from the past 5 years, I think, that people have really taken the chance to, instead of having a lot of people in the room, have the right people in the room and make more content out of it. And I think that that's where we're headed even further, obviously, with the birth of AI and all the things that are coming our way in the technology world. I think that the spaces themselves are going to be treated more as like just where the content's being built.
Right.
And then the event will be like just what was built on the content. So
Right.
whether or not there'll be large gatherings in that regard, I think that'll always exist.
Yeah.
But because I'm more on the corporate side, I can speak more to say I've watched the evolution where it's gone from just hotel to blank space to photo studio to now just unique space.
Yeah.
And I think we're still headed in the unique space land.
Yeah.
I think people still want to be like, how do I
Absolutely.
be? Because a big reason that and a big request I've gotten from so many different of my clients is how do we be the first one in that space? Right. We want to be the only one, the first one.
Yes.
Which is not real. So that's not a real thing here in New York. You can be the first one, but then it's not like the space is going to retire.
Right.
Unless it's a piece of real estate. So
Can't use it anymore.
yeah. But how do you be the first one to make it the way you want to make it?
Sure.
So that's how it can evolve technically.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of, what do they call them? Third spaces.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about content creation. So
Yeah.
we're going to a couple of events coming up where it's almost like spaces like this, where it's like a showroom
Yep.
with seating, with lounge areas, with coffee. Like, I guess you can maybe consider this a third space.
Yeah.
For this company, for Jesse. It's definitely, the world of venues is definitely evolving. There's a lot of transformation happening in the event space. At least I'm noticing a lot of amenity spaces
Yes.
as well. It's just really interesting. I wish I had a crystal ball. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Let's just hope events still happen.
Oh, I mean, there's always like people
No, people want to be
together.
people. Yes.
People want
Yes.
to
If
gather.
we've learned nothing,
At the end
yes.
of the
Wanna get
day,
together.
people want to gather
Yes.
and be together.
And there's
all the
marketing
time.
dollars always catered to people gathering. You
Yeah.
need to have people talk about whatever you're doing. So, yeah.
Okay. So, what advice would you give to planners looking to make the most of one of your spaces?
Oof. Well, you've got to come with your wallet. But I feel like,
Always.
I just feel like these spaces are unique for many reasons, but they're also a challenge. So you need to know what you're walking into. We make our best efforts in building out a program so that you know exactly what you're about to walk
Right.
into and understand what the deliverables need to be as you lead up to your event. I would say for a planner, I mean, the goal is to make sure that you are brought in again to be the next planner for whatever the company is, or be, by word of mouth, be recommended. So I think it all begins with a space, actually. Having the intel to know how you are bringing something unique, and it starts with the venue, is really the best thing you could do to start your relationship with your client.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And also trust you, because you
Absolutely.
know
Yeah,
the
you
venue.
guys make it easy.
Yes.
I think that's a big
Thanks.
thing too. Like when you're
Yes.
somebody like you in your team, you really know your venues, and
We
for
do.
people to just trust the things that you tell them that aren't going to work.
Right.
And
But I
well,
also like to, go ahead. No, you go
I'm just
ahead.
going to say, but I'm sure you're open to new ideas.
I
too.
like to also stay in my lane. I'm a very big person to be like, I have a lane. It's right here. I don't want to help you plan your event. I really don't. I want you to feel like I'm not going to step on your toes when you're with your client. But I can tell you what I've seen worked, and I can tell you how the space works
Right.
and how it operates.
Of course.
However, yes, I do think that, there are some planners that they just know what they're doing, and I'm totally going to stay out of it. And I'll give you my house rules, and then you can figure out how to do it from there.
Yeah.
But for the novices out there, yeah, maybe you want to listen to a couple of pieces of advice, but I still like them to be the planner in the room.
So P.S., when we did the venue crawl, we did this fun game with all the planners, and we said to them, share a story of an event that you did that, was either a crazy thing happened or something inspiring. And it was really fun. We got a lot of fun stories because we all
amazing.
have our war stories in the
Yeah.
industry over the years. So tell us, what is like one of the craziest things or most or inspiring things that happened at an event? that
Okay,
you've
so
done?
crazy can go so many ways.
I know.
I'm going to go, that's just what crazy is, right? Like you're not really predictable.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with crazy in like, wow, I can't believe this was my life moment.
Okay.
Oh, I love that.
I like
I
that.
think that that's the best version, because I can tell you crazy where like dumpster fires have
Well, yeah,
happened, but I don't really need
we
to
don't need to
highlight
hear
that.
that,
That's
no.
happened, and we're beyond that. On just like a temporary basis, ran a property that was on 23 Wall Street. It was the former like JP Morgan headquarter bank. It was a vessel of a space. It was literally, it looked like they blew it up, and on the inside it was just like concrete and but it was wild. It was a very, very cool space. It's right across from the stock exchange. It's a very, very cool space. It's in a very coveted area of New York. So there's a lot of security around it. There's a lot of dog sniffing moments. There's a lot going on over there. So if you're loading into that venue, it's not,
fun. I could imagine.
but there were the best of the best events took place in there. So
I was gonna say it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
absolutely, because the people that were going to produce in there had to know, like, all right, this is not going to be easy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but they had always the best clients. So one of the projects that I did in there that I think will always be my highlight moment of my career was for Michael Jordan's 30th anniversary for Air Jordan. It was a celebration of the Air Jordan anniversary. And there were Michael's best friends, which was every single person in the entire community of rap and like sports.
Right.
I'm not a sports person, but I very much can appreciate music.
Sure.
So in attendance, and we didn't know until the day, was it even the day before, of who the headliner, because there was obviously headliner talent that was coming to perform. But this took place, and it's funny, even when they were booking it at the very, like as we get closer to the date, I'm like, you guys, this is so funny. The address is 23. His number is 23. They're like, oh my God.
Yeah, duh.
Like, what's wrong with this girl? I'm like, I just don't like sports. I don't know. Like, so I felt like I was like, oh my God, you guys are gonna like be mind blown right now. Anyway, they knew that. So, so at the event, so obviously I represent the space, which is why another reason I love my job. It's my space. I can go in and out of any room I would like in these moments. So at that event, we had, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Every single person I couldn't even imagine being in a room with was there in this very large space, but I also had the VIP access tag. So I was able to like go into like the Beyonce rooms. And at the end of the night, which I knew like 24 hours in advance, we had Ariana Grande performing actually, which she was like kind of no one at that point. She was, she wasn't who she is today.
Right.
And then the headliner was Prince. And so I had the most like how I'm sitting with you.
The purple one.
It was wild. I still am like, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so I feel like, to me, and I'm such a person of music, that was one of the craziest moments of my career. I mean, Beyonce's hair hit my husband. He was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, I know. Oh my God. We just like, so it was a big career moment for me.
That's the beautiful thing about this industry. Like it'll take you places and put you in rooms that you would have never thought in your wildest dreams.
I just didn't belong there. I mean, I was like,
absolutely.
Yes,
you did.
Yes,
you
you
100% belong there.
I fortunately booked it, so yes, I belong there. But like,
but you do feel that way.
You
right?
had
You're
every
like,
right to be in that room
my God.
because your career led up to that very moment.
It's just such a moment.
You look back, in the moment you feel unworthy, right?
Yes.
In the moment you do, and then you take a step back and you say, you know what? I've been doing this for 20, 30 years. I 100% belong in that room.
Absolutely.
I 100% prepared myself to be in that room and be that person, be PS next to Beyonce and the purple and Prince.
And Michael stood next to me during that performance. I was like, hello.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was a very cool moment. And it was actually fun because I brought my sister was there too, as well as my husband and a few friends, and they're like, what the fuck is happening here? I'm like, this is just my life, guys. Just saying, you're lucky.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
That's
that
great.
was one of my favorite moments.
Wow.
I love it. All right, so to wrap this up, what's next? What's next for Hush Venues?
Actually, it's funny you bring that up because this was a conversation my business partners and I were having last night at our, as I was mentioning to you, our D-Day anniversary. We celebrate the day that our entire world crumbled 5 years ago. So we now bring it as like a celebration, a holiday for us, where we bring it up.
You made it.
We flip it on its, flip it on its head. We're like, it's actually a great day.
The day the world shut down, and here we are.
But we also, our rebirth is so much better than the previous. Even though we loved our life before, the rebirth was actually, this is it.
Sure.
This is where we're at.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's next? We were actually this was truly our topic. Instead of saying empire, we're not trying to build an empire. Like we want to remain a small business. We like being the three of us. Maybe we have a 2 or 3 employees down the road, but we really like being just the 3 of us controlling all this. But ultimately, our dream is to have secondly like 3 or 4 of these properties, which we kind of are doing already. And then 2 to 3 more of like the halo properties, which are the bigger guys that we know are going to be the money printers.
Yeah.
And we know how to run those machines pretty well.
Right.
So our goal is for people to just continue to notice us and give us these opportunities in which we can prove what our proof of concept is.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a wonderful job. We noticed you. That's why.
Even though you're on the hush.
I know.
We
know. Worst kept secret, as I said. Yep.
PS, thank you so much. Thank you for having
thank
us
you.
here again.
Such an
Thank you
honor to be
for
here.
having us
Yes.
in the venue crawl and on this podcast.
Yeah.
We love you. We love what you guys are doing.
Thanks.
So thank you
Goes
so
my name.
much.
PS, I love you. It does
PS, I
work
love
out
you,
well.
right?
Yeah.
We do love you, P.S.
Yes.
We do love you. All right.
guys.
Thanks.
All right.